Hello and welcome again to the Mobile Pharmacy. Today, the topic of our discussion is drug, the boom nowadays. The name of drug is teplizumab. And why teplizumab is famous now? Teplizumab is approved by FDA on 17 November 2022 for the treatment of the type 1 diabetes mellitus. And the brand name is very difficult to pronounce, that is Tzield. Okay. And it is monoclonal antibody. And it has very unique and very interesting mechanism of action against type 1 diabetes, especially at stage number 3. Okay. Before we go into the deeper dives of the discussion of the teplizumab mechanism of action, first we should know the pathophysiology of the type 1 diabetes mellitus. And we know type 1 diabetes is associated with in majority of the cases with autoimmune problems, means our own cells start destroying the pancreas. And we know that pancreas beta cell or islets of Langerhans beta cells are associated with the release of insulin, and that now causes the glucose regulation in the body. Okay, now come to the pathophysiology of the type 1 diabetes, that is associated with the autoimmune problems and two major autoimmune cells. Sorry, two major immune cells responsible for the destruction of the beta cells are CD4 cells, are also called as cytotoxic T cells, and the second one are helper T cells. Both are involved in the pathophysiology of the type 1 diabetes. Rather, they also perform normal physiological activity in the body as well. Okay, CD8 cells and CD4 cells. CD8 cells and CD4 cells, both they have TCR or the T cell receptor on their surface, and CD4 cell also have TCR. TCR means T cell receptor. T cell receptors. Okay, that's all right. And along with these TCR, there is the protein that is called as CD3 or cluster of designation number 3. It is also necessary for the activation of both these CD8 and CD4 cells. And these cluster of designation number 3 are coupled with a chain of 3 epsilon molecules. These below you can see, these below hanging around is CD3 cluster of designation. Both in these two cells these are present, as you can see here in this CD4 as well. And these epsilon chains, when combined with the major histocompatibility complex, what is basically it is major histocompatibility complex is a protein, and it is present almost on every nucleated cell, and it is associated with the autoimmune, or we can say immunological reactions in the body. When any antigen comes and it is exposed to the antigen presenting cell by this major histocompatibility complex. Okay, So when these CD8 and CD4 cells interact with major histocompatibility complex on a nucleated cell, they gets activated. What is the chain behind? First, these epsilon will combine with major histocompatibility complex. As you can see, this is major histocompatibility complex. And this major histocompatibility complex, when interact with this CD4 along with epsilon chain, it causes the activation of these two kind of cells. And these cells activate, they causes the release of certain death death factors. Let's say for example, let's say for example, I remember two grain zymes and perforins. Perforins. These causes the destruction of the cell. So in this way, the beta cells of the islets of the Langerhans or the pancreas gets destroyed and they becomes unable to release penicillin, and this is called as type 1 diabetes. So what teplizumab is going to perform its role. Let's suppose this is, you can see this is teplizumab. It is three fingers. So suppose this teplizumab comes and it binds with these epsilon molecules on the surface of the CD4 and CD8 cells along with T cell receptor. When this epsilon chain will be masked by this teplizumab, this epsilon will not be able to bind with this major histocompatibility complex, and when there will be the no interaction of the major histocompatibility complex with the epsilon, there will be the no activation of these cytotoxic cells like CD8 cells and CD4 cells. So in this way, the progression or autoimmune destruction of the beta cells will be hindered by this teplizumab. So this is very interesting mechanism of action of the teplizumab. I hope you people enjoy this lecture. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.